Hey everybody, today we're taking a tour of Celebration, Florida, the town that Disney built. As we tour the town together, I'm going to give you some insights on the magical history of this particular town, as well as show you some of the really unique architecture of some of the buildings downtown that were built back in the 1990s, when Walt Disney Company broke ground here. You'll also see what it's like to live here. You'll catch a glimpse of the culture as we tour the downtown area, and stay to the end as I show you one of the lowest cost investments that you can purchase right here in Celebration, Florida. And as a hint, it's much cheaper than you might think. Here we go. We're in Water Tower Shops. This is the main shopping center for Celebration community owners, okay? So we're actually pretty much, consider what's the downtown area. This is, obviously you can see the aesthetic of this community is a little bit different than your average neighborhood. There's a water tower. I want to make sure you got a chance to see it. The background there, you might be able to see like some vacation villas, a big condominium building. That's across the street, and we're really right against downtown or west side of Kissimmee. So this area is sitting right on 192, which if you're familiar with the geography, what I'm saying, this area is on the outskirts of the community. So they're on the very edge. That's been a complaint of some people, right? Because Celebration was basically built to be this high walkability lifestyle, and the community itself is actually a few miles south of here. So you actually could ride a bike here, but you probably aren't walking here. You surely aren't walking here and bagging groceries and walking them home. But as far as the area is concerned, there's just a ton of shops. There's actually a lot of different things for people that actually live here full time. You've got Chinese food, American food, pub style food, nail shops. Pet Boys has a huge garage, which I'll show you here in a second, because it's just kind of funny to see the garage all designed the way it is. You've got gyms, CrossFit affiliates down here, UPS stores, insurance agencies, all the different things. But just like anything else, when this community was constructed, they actually gave a pattern criteria. So if you were going to build something for a business or a home, that property had to conform, right? So a lot of master plan communities are done this way throughout America. So it's nothing new, but the conformity for this is a little bit different. So this is the Pet Boys on the right-hand side. Obviously you can see, pretty good size one too, because I think they probably are prepared for tourists that are coming in. I see an old RV, little old Rialto we're driving past right now. And you can see that this is probably where people who are in the area, maybe not even in Celebration, are having car trouble near Disney. So there's just a lot of stuff here to do and to take care of while you're, it's kind of the town center, But once again, a little bit of some fuss from the locals, because they're like, well, how is this high walkability if, it's actually kind of outside of the area? So I'm going to take you back towards the community itself. And as we do, I want to kind of give you the backdrop of Celebration and what it's about. So Celebration was actually planned by Disney somewhere in the mid to late 80s. That's actually what we have as far as the origin story. Now, obviously, there's nothing really developed in this area at that point. But something that you may not be aware of is, like, in the late 80s, early 90s, Disney's was on a building and construction boom. They were adding a lot of infrastructure on the property. Up to that point, they really had just had the Magic Kingdom and Epcot. And so at that point, they were starting to plan Hollywood Studios, and were building a lot more of the hotel resorts and the properties that were on site. So they were looking at this acreage that they have here. So this is around 4,900 acres in this area. They were actually thinking about what they were going to do with it. And so obviously Epcot had inspired the idea of Disney building, a community of the future. And funny that people that live here are actually very forward-thinking people. You have intelligent ownership in this area. That's a high price point. Very wealthy people to moderately wealthy people live in this area. For that sake, it's anything but modern. In fact, if you watch The Truman Show, you get an idea of like how the neighborhood is laid out. You have this old style, very much picturesque of the 1950s, which obviously Walt was very much intrigued by the past, and he liked Main Street built that way. And so the interesting thing about Celebration is they've really kind of encapsulated the nostalgia of the past. As you can imagine, when you live in a community like this, you have a homeowner association, you have management, rules. You can't just do anything you want with the community. So if you want to be very unique, you are confined to being able to be unique. Your house will have to conform with the rest of the neighborhood. You cannot paint it some crazy color. There's just ways you have to do. There's just ways you have to fall in line when you live here. We're actually pulling into the official downtown area of Celebration. So we're in the heart of what they call the villages. So Celebration itself is constructed in separate villages. So there's 4 different villages in different directions from here, and the downtown area was crafted and formed from the designs that Disney had come up with originally. So in the 80s, as I mentioned, as Disney started to make plans for this community, they actually allowed their own architecture, their own firms that were already working with Disney to be involved in this project. Michael Eisner was CEO at the time. When they were planning this development, he was like, hey, we already have high quality architects. We already know people. Why don't we have them do some of this? Now, you can see the City Hall is across the street. The post office is next to that. You can see they're just extraordinarily unique. The downtown area of Celebration, you can see very much picturesque of what you would see in Disney. This area in general reminds me of California, Disney's California Adventure Park. So the park across from Disneyland in California has this look to it. I mean, it literally looks similar because you have the old quaint style finishes in the buildings, like the 1950s look, but then you also have an Art Deco building, like a Art Deco finish style architecture thrown in the middle, which is interesting. And that's because Disney did employ several architects with different visions, different backgrounds to be a part of the process of putting all this together. So as you can see today, it's a beautiful day out. It's like 65 degrees. There's a lot of people downtown taking advantage of that, sitting out on little bistros, sitting at tables, having lunch. And a lot of what you see down here is actually not, it's not based on these are not major mainstream tenants that are down here. So most of the downtown area, the tenants down here are more like local shops. And as I'm talking, I'm going to show you some of the restaurants, some of the top restaurants that are down here. None of them are national brand restaurants. And there is obviously a Starbucks coffee because there'd probably a mutiny if they didn't have one down here. But essentially, other than that, like, they're fairly well rated restaurants. The food quality is pretty good. And as you can see, we're right now in the downtown district. There's a lot of townhomes here. A lot of these townhomes that you're seeing here in the shots, they're going to go from really about $300,000, from about $300,000 up to over $500,000. But most of the townhomes, they're not over $500,000. It's more of a rare situation if you see them that high up. But the entire marketplace here, if you look at the villages that we're seeing, you're going to see either a condo townhome sale from what is honestly the baseline is like $100,000. Those are very small hotel room sized space, a little bigger than a hotel room actually. But you're going to see those properties up to about 200 to 300, and then more of the long-term ownership style homes. You're going to see those further up. You can obviously see the lifestyle here. There's people walking their dogs, people out for walks. You can see some of the custom homes. Sitting as we're driving by downtown. There's custom homes, town hall, parks, and open areas for people. The villages themselves too. They have access to good schools. Celebration School is actually one of the top-rated schools in the area, which is a K through 8th grade school. Very high rated. The public schools are on par. I'd say they consider the public schools to be above average. And I'm kind of pulling in one of the villages here. The public schools are considered to be above average. However, like, honestly, your public school, high schools, none of them in Florida are really phenomenal, okay? And so, by the way, we're in the downtown area. These are some of the communities that have a mix. Some of them are front-facing garages. You can see them right off the street, particularly on the left. You see some of the art, some of the millwork on these houses, where they have little charming, the cutouts on the front patio, the front porch, the roof line. There's just a little bit more detail to some of the homes. However, as you know, I'm sure you're saying to yourself, wow, those are pretty close together. Yes, they are. The land value is pretty high here, so when they were constructing these houses, they did put them fairly close together. And there's low-lying marsh in all directions. I mean, I'm going to be honest. As we made that U-turn, the land is pretty low around Celebration. In fact, if you were to look at a flood map, I'm pretty sure that everything outside of the Celebration build-out is probably swampy and low. And there's not, I would say there's probably zero chance that your house is going to be in a flood zone here. In fact, I'm sure of it. I think everything here is built on above the grade of where it floods. But as far as the outside area, it's pretty much like just conservation area, generally wooded, swampy Florida, forested area. It's been left alone. Okay, so you're gonna see a lot of that, which means the ponds here, things of that nature. You probably will have gators, snakes. See, it's not obviously stopping this lady from going out and having a walk with their baby this morning. There's a lot of people out walking. And again, I'm out here shooting this on a Tuesday. So this is actually businesses in session, schools in session. People are out running around, making the day of it. So, but kind of to give you more insight on this, if you were looking for a single-family home, the smallest single-family home, again, not looking at townhomes and condos, are really going to be in the $500,000 price range. And then you have luxury type properties that go on up into the multi-million-dollar range. So there's actually a street here that's just got massive custom homes on it, very beautiful. And honestly, anything custom in this particular community probably starts around $1.2 million, $1.3 million, something in that price range. When you're looking at like 3,500, 4,000 square feet and above with a custom built house. So I'm going to show you some of those homes as we're doing the video. So in the background, I'm going to kind of give you an idea of what's a $500,000 house look like. What's the most expensive house that's on the market right now look like in this particular community? What's going on in this neighborhood? This community, I'm going to give you, by the way, I'm going to give you the history, I'm going to tell you the future, because there's some more construction coming that just started, which if you're looking to get in and you want something new, this is it, okay? But telling you about the history, Disney started to plan this property out. They got the architecture planned out. They got everything going. Disney did not like that this 5,000 acres, 4,900 acres, was really across the way. They kind of felt like it was not connected with the rest of their parks and a little bit out of the way. So, because essentially this is on the other side of Interstate 4. So Disney as a whole is divided from Celebration. There's a freeway between where we are now and the actual park, all the parks of Disney. So Disney, and also besides the Interstate 4, there's also Highway 192. So Highway 192 is the main artery that takes you from Claremont all the way back to Kissimmee. Actually, you can take it all the way back to the beaches on the East Coast. But Disney did not like that there was a highway and a interstate highway, and also, I'm sorry, there's not an interstate highway. Disney did not like that there was a freeway and then there was a state road that's like right down the middle of their property. So they kind of felt that Celebration was a little bit annexed away. And as a result, they decided to sell this off to private investors in 2004. Disney's got a funny way of how they manage themselves. Disney is very big on control. If you know the history of Disney, you can see some really cool homes down there. Beautiful customs here on the corner. You can see it's just really kind of a throwback of Americana. And different, right? So you got, this is like a colonial style home, and then you have a Spanish style, very beautiful Spanish style home right next to it. And right in front of us is the golf club. So Celebration Golf Club is here. We're on the back corner of it. So we're kind of seeing an edge of it, but it's, you can kind of get the idea. We're driving down a street really where there's beautiful finishes. These homes here you're going to see are anywhere from 4,000 square feet to 8,000 square feet on the high side. Beautiful homes. These are going to be multi-million, probably 1.5 to about 3.5 at the top end. And again, these actually have a beautiful view of the golf course. So we're showing you the homes, and we're going to leave you there. But directly across the street, these homes do not face any neighbors. So they actually have, fairways in the front yard of their houses and stuff like that. So, but this particular community, Disney wanted to annex it. Disney's great at keeping control of things. Disney has a governing body that actually they control. So when Disney needs to build in Disney, I believe they pull their own permits at Reedy Creek. And so Reedy Creek actually had the original governance of this community, but Disney pulled Reedy Creek off of it and de-annexed it from being governed by Disney, because having this property, this community, would have dissolved some of their voting rights and controls for the parks and their, Reedy Creek in general. It's like, nope, we can't have Reedy Creek dissolved. Their governance had to be backed off. So they literally backed off, I believe, in the mid to late 90s from Reedy Creek having controls over this area, and then allowed this to have its own governance. And then again, they felt like in 2004 that this community was not going to be aligned with what their goals were, and so in the end, they did sell this off. So essentially now it's privately owned completely from front to back. Disney has no ownership in it. They do have influence still. I believe they have, because they have so much. I think they still have retained either land or certain leases, which allow them power in voting. So they still have influence. Their influence is not gone, but yet they still, they're really kind of have turned it over for all intents and purposes. It's not really like an operating wing of the Disney company. So interesting story. I'll tell you this, it's an incredibly safe place to live. So if you are wanting to live here, it's very low on crime, property crime, violent crime, all of it's very low here, very green if you look at the maps. In fact, I believe it was 15 years before the first person was actually murdered in Celebration. The first murder took place around 2010. And so they held this idea that they were the best, safest community in America because there was actually no one killed here, and some crazy person went and took that away from the neighborhood. And again, don't be confused. This is a community, not a city. This is not a city. It is a community. It's a master planned community. Okay, but neighbors love it very much. A very cool urban feel. They were able to retain a lot of those goals in how they finished this. So very whimsical. People that live here, look at that Bank of America. It's got like a watchtower on it. What if the banker goes up there with the cash? Goes to the top of the tower. It's a unique spot, right? Very unique. Again, I'm not taking nothing away. There's a lot of great master plan communities in America. I don't think I've ever seen one like this, where it's literally frozen in time, very much, the feel of yesteryear. Really kind of a cool, laid-back city. But a lot of things to do here. Really interesting place to be and hang out. So, a lot of people. There's tons to do here. So, the area, the community always is vibrantly moving. So the community is always doing things such as farmers markets, different community fair events. Different show type things, just local stuff available for the neighbors here. So there's a lot of that always going. So there's a lot of energy from that. But a lot of folks that live here call it pleasant. By the way, I'm going to take you down one of the coolest streets. This is the coolest street in all of Celebration. We're on East Lawn Drive. These are the most beautiful customs in the Central Florida marketplace. You've got amazing finishes. These are all multi-million-dollar homes. These are probably $2 to $5 million range. Michelle. Beautiful homes, beautiful customs, variety of styles. East lawn. Backs up to a conservation area. No neighbors in the rear. Beautiful homes. So we've got some work being done on it. You get some different styles. You got varying degrees. Different looks. This one, beautiful. It's one of my favorites right here. Got a portico share. Rear garage. Beautiful finish. Right now we're on the northwest edge of Celebration. You're gonna see an Arby's, you're gonna see an Applebee's, you're gonna see Buca de Beppo's, you're gonna see the cool architecture of the commercial complexes here on the left, on the right. There's actually complexes on both sides. Just something next level about this area. It's just different, you know? Obviously it's Florida, so you've got sprawl. You know, you got a lot of open grass lawns and stuff like that, which is not too green right now because it's kind of cold outside. Florida's been suffering with this cold. Right up front is the Malia. This is a vacation spot. I'm going to show you a property out of this actually here in a little bit. We actually feature one of those $80,000 property you can buy in that particular property. Go ahead and show you that here at the end of the video, which is insane. So as we're on the Celebration tour, I want to show you the lowest priced property you can purchase in Celebration. That's right, bottom price point. This is an $80,000 price point for a condominium. The property I'm going to show you today is 754 square feet. It is one bedroom with the regular amenities. You got some living area, and we'll show you the kitchen first. This is a particular property that's literally going to be available for you if you were a snowbird and you want to stay in it, but yet recoup an income while you're not staying in the property. It is fully furnished. It's managed by on-site housekeeping. If you have a guest staying in your property, they're going to come in and be met by professionals at a front desk in a more like a hotel experience. The lobby is very impressive. It's very beautiful outside, and also the amenities are very nice. There's a resort-style pool. The downstairs around the pool has tons of games, putter golf, you know, different things that you'd expect in Florida. And this particular area, again, we're on the inside of the Celebration community. There's tons of eating, restaurants, and again, because we are on Celebration, we're across literally from Disney World. You know, you're just traveling right across the street to see Disney. Now, the catch, this is $80,000 in a purchase price. With this kind of a purchase, in all likelihood, you are going to be paying a little bit higher homeowner association because there's going to be a lot of amenities. It's really geared towards caring for the property while you're not staying in it. So when you're paying for those kinds of amenities to have the housekeeping, the on-site management, it's going to be a little bit higher. So the monthly fees here are $700, around $700 a month. But again, for the high-level amenities, the resort-style look, that's just kind of what you're in for. Okay, and you hope to obviously make that back through rent receivables. You know, people are going to be paying you night to night to stay here. So that's the opportunity. But let's check out the rest of Celebration. This over here on the left is the hospital. Okay, this I think was Orlando Health originally, Florida, one of the Florida hospital facilities. This is now owned, like everything else in Central Florida, by Advent Health. And the original plan for this hospital was kind of like the spa-like whole body health, like mental health, body health, spirit health, like everything combined. As you can see, it straight up looks like Spanish style, like different. It looks like a building you'd see like, you know, old Florida or old California building. It's just different. You know, it kind of has like a clay colored exterior. It's just very interesting. And so kind of goes with everything else. Just a little bit unique. If you are into speaking of spiritual health, there's, I believe, 5 Christian churches. There's a Catholic church. I believe there's also a Jewish synagogue. So there's a lot of opportunities for houses of worship. But as you can see in this area, they've really maintained a lot of the architecture. Everything by design is very cool, very unique. So let's talk about the future of Celebration. Celebration is actually just releasing townhomes. Mattamy Homes, a very popular local builder, is building 1,000 homes on the edge of the Celebration community. And so it's going to be an opportunity. The homes start in the 400s. There's quick moves available, and they're going to have their own amenities built around that space. So not only going to have the opportunity to buy a new home, but you're going to have new amenities built in. So obviously there's going to be community space just like you're exposed to in the rest of Celebration. It's going to have its own clubhouse, its own community pool, fitness center, and a host of great amenities. By the way, if you are interested in seeing those, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We're going to be uploading all those. We're walking all their models, and we're going to be uploading and sharing those to you so you can see what do you get in Celebration right now? What can you buy brand new? What does it cost? And you actually have a lot of options. Those townhomes start around 1,400 square feet. They go up to almost 4,000 square feet. And Mattamy Homes is a very thoughtful builder. They do a great job. They build some beautiful properties. And again, they're just getting started. I think they've sold maybe a couple hundred in the last couple months. So there's no other options. I mean, most of the homes that you're seeing, while they're beautiful homes, these homes are in many cases, 15 years old. In some cases older than that. So if you're looking for something new and you want to be in this community, you have great opportunity for that. One thing with Celebration is it's close to Disney. Again, this was originally annexed land from Disney, which means all of the area around it. I'm going to give you some pros and cons of living in this particular community. When you live this close to Disney, you are surrounded by tourists. Okay, when you're driving up and down the outside highways here, they are not only crowded at certain times of the year, but they're also, there's a tendency for you to be navigating with people that may not drive too sanely. There's people in Florida get really frustrated with tourists because a lot of times tourists don't know where they're going. So when that's the case, they're driving hesitantly, they're clogging the road. That becomes an issue. But I got to tell you too, there's some areas east of here, like Kissimmee East. This is my opinion speaking as a professional. Not the nicest areas, okay? And again, I'm talking go 15 minutes east. There's more like panhandlers. It's more packed with people. It's not as freshly developed. Like if you are pulling outside of Celebration, where we're at right now, you have Old Town directly to the east of us, which is a huge shopping area. A lot of things going on there. A lot of like food trucks and weekend events. This area particularly has a lot of restaurants nearby. Charlie's Steakhouse, Buca de Beppo's, national brands. And remember, those national brands are just on the edge of the property, which if you live here, it's like a 5-minute drive. It's not like a long drive. But they're not inside of Celebration. They're just on the edge. There's going to be a lot of breakfast joints because that's what you see in tourist areas like IHOP, right? And so you have a lot of that in the area. And so the community of Celebration, though, I believe is somewhere around 11,000 people live here right now at this point. It's been around 9,000 for a long time, but now they're adding new townhomes, and that's somewhere around 4,000 households that live in this community. So if you think about that, that's the amount of people that are being serviced by the local restaurants here and the shopping and all that. And keep in mind too, the shopping on site here for Celebration is also being used by those guests staying in the towers that are around here. There's other condominium towers and rental property in this area. So like vacation rental wise, there's a lot of Airbnb in this area, which ends up crossing over, and people want to come and check out Celebration. And Celebration is just cool to check out. Like at Christmas time, there's a street here that's practically world renowned for how crazy they go out for their Christmas lights. It's called Jeter Bend. So if you haven't seen it, I'm going to show you some of that footage on screen.
3, 2, 1!
The lights on Jeter Bend present
Who do I see driving that train? Santa Claus. I mean, this is a show. And those are family photos? Yep. Wow.
Grab some holly and mistletoe, 'cause we're gonna go out tonight. We're gonna bask in the electric glow of a million little colored lights. We got a lot to do before the dawn, so we're depending on the introspection. Put your mittens on, shake a jingle bell in my direction.
We're in a town built by Disney, so I'm expecting to see a bit of Disney around. And something I've never seen before is a dancing Mickey light display. That was super cool. They had projections of Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus waving to the kids, and then there's fire, there's water. This is all synchronized. This is amazing.
Christmas is starting now. Right now.
Jeter Bend goes out. The street is so busy. There's like 12 houses there. All the neighbors light their homes up, literally like Christmas vacation. But you know, it's crazy. And because of the amount of people that have come to see it over the years, they literally shut the street down and they have neighbors directing traffic for people walking in and out. So it's crazy. It's beautiful. It's phenomenal. It's so over the top. But that's kind of the neighborhood you have here. They have the, very, very local, very, homegrown. People just like it. It just feels like a time of, it feels like something that's locked in time. It feels like something from times past. And so as a result, people flock here. People love to visit. People love just to see it. But if you wanted to come out and hike, walk around, there's bike trails that kind of weave in and out of the woods. The other thing that people don't know is there's a lot of commercial property and hospitals, medical facilities on Celebration property. So the other benefit of this particular area, you have like local office space and stuff like that. Now Disney has for a long time held a lot of that. They still lease a lot of the space. Disney's cruise lines, their official offices are headquartered here. So a lot of the folks that work there are on site here. Those buildings are amazing. A lot of the hospitals, it's a different look. They kept that pattern book and they maintained how everything would be built, and it's just amazing. It's just different. So all of that is here. And again, Celebration. It's pretty amazing. It's a pleasant place to live.
Thank you so much for joining me on this magical tour of Celebration, Florida. If you enjoyed the content, please smash that like button. And if you like daily updates of lifestyle, culture, and new home information around Central Florida, subscribe to the channel and follow us on our journey. Thanks again.